After witnessing the terrible tragedy of war, the emperor of Magadh, the great Ashoka's heart is filled with profound sorrow, and he becomes a patron of Buddhism. He sends his son Mahendra and daughter Sangamitra to Sri Lanka and other countries to spread Buddhism. It is said that during this period of time, many Buddhist monks accompanied them, and they also travelled through Gujarat Pradesh. It is believed that Buddhism was originated in the 5th century with Lord Gautam Buddha. Siddhartha, the son of Shuddhodhana and Maya Devi, was born in Lumbini. Seeing sickness and futility of life, he abandoned wife Yashodhara and son Rahul and left his home. He sat in deep meditation under the Bodhi tree, achieved enlightenment, and became the Buddha. A sect with his ideology was called Buddhism, and his followers went on all over the world to spread Buddhism. These Buddhist followers made caves in the mountains for their stay, away from the people, where they can practice worship and meditation in a peaceful atmosphere. They carved out the caves in the mountains. Their motive was to procure tough accommodation during their visits that could protect them from wild animals, thieves, and bandits. This is the reason why Buddhist caves can be found in many places across the world. Gujarat also has signs of Buddhist influence. It is said that Junagadh was once under the control of the great Ashoka, who was a staunch follower of Buddhism. King Ashoka had religious messages carved in the rocks of Girnar mountain, which are known as the inscriptions of Ashoka. It is said that Buddha had come to Gujarat. We have found messages carved in Brahmi script, similar to Pali language, on 7 to 10 meters high rough, scratched stones in Girnar mountains foothills. These are as old as 250 BC. Some other rocks have carvings in Sanskrit language. Sudarshan Lake is described in this script, which was repaired by the Kshatriya dynasty king, Rudra Daman I. Heavy rains and storms have ravaged the lake. On another rock, the last king of Gupta dynasty, King Skandagupta's era, is described. Junagadh's Nawab Rasul Khan maintained these rocks in the year 1900 at the cost of 7,662 rupees. Restoration work was also carried out between the years 1939 to 1941 by the Junagadh state. Relics of this rock can be seen at the entrance of the Delhi National Museum. Words once carved in stone cannot be erased. Edicts, caves, and messages on the walls of these caves are made with the purpose that the ideals and principles of Buddhism should last for ages and reach the masses at large.
Buddhist caves, they have got 3 buildings, structure. Sangha. Sangha means establishment, meant for the Buddhist activity. So there are 3 elements, the monastery, Bodh Mat, then stup, that is the one type of memorial, and third is Chaitya. Chaitya is Buddhist temple, and temple actually the Chaitya incorporate both one stupa itself and a prayer hall. So that stupa itself is actually representative of Buddha. In early period there was no image of Buddha, but later on this stupa is actually surmounted by the Buddha, or it is actually in front wall of the stupa.
Fahayan, a traveller from China, 640 AD, came to India, and he mentioned the Buddhist caves situated in India in his travelogue according to history. It is mentioned that there are many Buddhist caves in Gujarat, in which Devni Mori, Talaja, Taranga Hill, Barnagar, Kachni Siyot, the rock inscriptions of Junagadh, the caves of Uparkot, Sana Buddhist caves of Somnath, Khambhalida Buddhist caves and Kadiya Dungar caves in Bharuch are the major ones. According to the Chinese traveller Fayan, during his travels, he came across many Buddhist monasteries in the western parts of India, where Buddhism was preached, in which Valbhi, Vadnagar, Devni Mori were famous. Valbhi is the main city of Bhavnagar, which was once known for its education and was as renowned as Nalanda Vidyapith. During his travels through Gurjar Pradesh, Fahayan visited the present Vadnagar city, which was known as Anandpur at that time. The remains of Buddhist caves found in Vadnagar corroborate Fahayan's references. The present-day Arvalli district was a part of Sabarkantha district a few years back. Here the remains of Devni Mori were found during the excavation of Meshwo Dam. The archaeology department found many relics of Buddhism in the excavation between the year 1961 to 1976. It is believed that from the 2nd century to the 7th century, for about 500 years, Devni Mori was bigger center of Buddhism.
ઓગણીસો 60 વખતે અહીંના મેસુઓ નદીના ડેમમાં ખોદકામ વખતે જમીનમાંથી ઘણા બધા અવશેષો મળેલા. એ દેવની મોરી બુદ્ધ નગરી હોવાના બહુ અવશેષો પુરાતત્વ ખાતાના મળ્યા છે, જેની અંદર એક પથ્થરનો ડાબડો પણ મળ્યો છે, જેની અંદર ભગવાન બુદ્ધના દેહાવશેષો હોય એવું એના પર એક પાલી ભાષામાં લખેલું મળ્યું છે અને ત્યારે હાલ એ બરોડા મ્યુઝિયમની અંદર સંગ્રહવામાં આવ્યું છે. અત્યારે હાલ મારી પાછળ જે જોઈ રહ્યા છો એ એક ખંડિત બૌદ્ધ મંદિર છે. એ મંદિરની ટોચ ઉપર ભગવાન બુદ્ધના મૂર્તિ ચારે બાજુ દેખાય છે. આ દેવની મોરી જે બૌદ્ધ નગરી હતી એના અવશેષો ઠેર ઠેર ખોદકામ વખતે મળે છે અને આપણા ભારત સરકાર આના ડેવલપ વિશે ખૂબ પ્રયત્નો કરી રહી છે.
It is believed that during Emperor Ashoka's reign, he had around 80,000 stupas built. One of them was found in 1961 during the excavation in Devni Mori. And the remains of 7 clay idols of Lord Buddha were also found, which are now displayed in the Vadodara Museum. Buddhist caves in Devni Mori are some of the most significant findings in history. 1600 years old remains of the city are now a tourist attraction and a center of faith for the followers of Buddhism. The influence of Buddhism is quite evident in Junagadh. Once upon a time, the city was under Emperor Ashoka's reign. Emperor Ashoka had many stupas and monasteries built here. With the passage of time, these remains disappeared. Afterwards, during the construction of the new city, we found relics through excavation. And we preserved those relics as our heritage. This is how we reminisce our great past. Junagadh and nearby places like Paneshwar Caves, Gadechi, the ruins of Matri temples, the brick stupas of Bodh Devi and Najarpanath are a reminder of the Buddha era. This stupa was found in a Buddhist cave near Una. It is said that when a Buddhist monk passed away, their last rites were performed at that very place. And then they would build a stupa there, their final resting place.
गुजरात में भी हर जगह पर हर जिला में गुफा मिलेंगी आपको। तो यहाँ पर भिक्षु संघ आया था, भगवान बुद्ध का यहाँ पर भी वास्तव्य था और संघ के साथ में भगवान बुद्ध यहाँ पर घूमे थे, ठहरे हुए हैं यहाँ पर, इसीलिए यह सब कुछ बनाया गया है। यहाँ सदियों काल में, पुराने के समय में यहाँ पर बौद्ध भिक्षु का वास्तव्य था और वो लोग ध्यान करते थे और ध्यान करते करते अरहंत पद पर चले जाते थे। और जब उनका मृत्यु हो जाता था, निर्वाण हो जाता, महापरिनिर्वाण हो जाता, उनका डेट हो जाता था, उसी जगह पर ये स्तूप बनाते थे। देवनी मोरी करके गुजरात में है, यहाँ पर एक बड़ा स्तूप निकला। बड़ा स्तूप निकलने के बाद वहाँ डैम बनाया गया पानी का, नदी के ऊपर। इसके अंदर वो गांव था, गांव के अंदर वो जो उत्खनन हुआ मशीन द्वारा, जेसीबी द्वारा जो हुआ, तो उसके अंदर एक बड़ा स्तूप निकला। स्तूप के अंदर यहाँ पर अस्थि निकली, अरे भगवान बुद्ध की अस्थि निकली, अरहंत भिक्षु की अस्थि निकली, छोटा सा स्तूप निकला। तो आज भी देवनी मोरी यहाँ पर वो बहुत सारा पर्यटक स्थल है, वहाँ बहुत बड़ा स्तूप बनाया गया है और रखा गया है, संग्रहालय बनाया गया है। यहाँ पर उस समय जैसे जैसे अभी यहाँ से छोड़कर जाना है हमें, तो यहाँ हम जा रहे भिक्षु, तो यहाँ निशानी छोड़ने के लिए ये बौद्ध मूर्ति भी बनाते थे। जैसे भगवान बुद्ध उनके गुरु थे और संघ उनकी मूर्ति हाथ से बनाते थे, वो मूर्ति उनकी निशानी के रखे जाते थे कि यह बुद्ध का वास्तव्य था।
When we visit the caves like those of Khambhalida, Sana, Talaja and Devnimori, looking at the enormous halls, we can literally imagine the gathering of Buddhist followers in the large numbers in these halls. One can even imagine Buddhist monks preaching the code of Buddha to their disciples. Buddhist caves are an amalgam of history, spirituality, mystery, meditation, and worship. These caves were found in different places from Kutch to Saurashtra from time to time. It is believed that these caves were built anywhere between the 2nd century and the 6th century.
Because Buddha himself actually was against the image worship, and as a result, the earlier Buddhists, they did not worship images. Even they did not represented Buddha as in human form. He was actually symbolically portrayed or represented in the form of a tree, horse, some footprint. But around 1st, 2nd century AD, actually the Mahayana, they actually started incorporated the images in Buddha. And as a result, in Gujarat also import of those elements, that images are actually now started emerging. That the Devni Mori is one of the biggest example where we have found so many images. And there are few images from other side also, like Barnagar, Taranga. They are actually where we get the sculptural or decorative art of Buddha. Rest of the caves are very simple and plain, but they date back to 2nd century BC or maybe some contemporary to Asoka period.
The walls, pillars of these caves, the beautiful art depicted in them, the religious messages and pictures, stories described in them, all of this gives us a fleeting glimpse into the art and culture of that era. The 3-story cave in Uparkot of Junagadh is believed to be 2000 years old. Moreover, the Siot Buddhist caves in North Kutch, Sana caves in Somnath and Kadiya Dungar caves near Jagadia were quite famous. And it can be summarized that once upon a time, they were the centers of Buddhism. Bustling with Buddhist disciples, Chinese travelers have also mentioned these centers in their India travelogues. Many Buddhist caves were also found in Taranga Hills near Vadnagar in North Gujarat. Here the Dharan Mata temple, surrounded by Jain temples, is also a tourist attraction. Taran Mata and Dharan Mata are famous as Buddhist goddesses. The idol of Taran Mata, made from marble, is kept in this temple. It is said that this hill was named Taranga after Taran Dev. Also, Taranga Hills was famous as the tantric center of Buddhism in the 9th century. These caves provided safety to Buddhist monks wandering around the world to propagate their religion, and protected them from heat, cold, storms, heavy rains, wild animals, and thieves and bandits. These caves have a special standing, the spread of Buddhist philosophy. The caves had huge halls for people who gathered to receive religious discourse. Arches and pillars made from carved stones at Talaja Hills are proof of its magnificence. The sculptures on the Chatuskonya pillars are dilapidated due to the passage of time. Nevertheless, there is no doubt after seeing these caves that they had a glorious past.